Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hearts, and today I'll be breaking down the 3-game NFL Sunday slates we have here on DraftKings on Christmas. So Merry Christmas, guys. Happy holidays. We have $1 million up top to first place, so a ton of money to be won to celebrate your guys' holidays. So if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Hearts. I do daily slate breakdowns for the NBA and NFL, where I talk through my favorite spin-up plays, mid-range options, and value plays, and I also build out a lineup for the slates as well. Obviously, everything changes with injury news, so make sure to stay updated on Twitter. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the slate breakdown. As always, guys, make sure to follow me on Twitter at HeartDFS. I'll answer any questions you guys have. Talk NBA and NFL DFS, PrizePicks, all that good stuff. My link tree will have my free Patreon as well, where I do write-ups for the NBA and NFL. Now on to this 3-game slate. Before I get into it, just want to say make sure to check out my NBA Christmas Day video slate breakdown. That should be out as well along with this video. For the quarterback situation, since it's a 3-game slate, we don't have that many options. The best options are going to be the 3 guys at the top. Tua, Tom, Aaron, Wilson, and Baker are there. If you want to get super risky for this millionaire maker, you can. I just don't think there's a need. I mean, Baker going against that Denver defense does not look great, and he's in a new offense, which he still doesn't know. And then Russell Wilson, I mean, he's had 2 games this year above 20 fantasy points. I mean, that first one, not going to count that. But yeah, 2 games. Otherwise, he's been terrible. So going against a Rams defense, even without Aaron Donald, I just don't think there's a need to get to him unless you want to just, absolutely burn money. Maybe that 1% of the time it works out. But between Tua, Tom, and Aaron, it really just depends on ownership. They're all kind of similar plays. Like, they all throw the ball a good amount. Maybe Tom and Aaron throw it a little bit more. But if I had to lean towards one, it'd probably be Tom, just with how much he throws compared to a guy like Tua and a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and Tua are pretty much the similar play. Like, they'll throw it 30 to maybe 40 times, depending on if they really need to score. Tom Brady's going to throw it, pretty much 40 plus times, even like 50 plus, just because their offense has been so bad. They don't have a running game. So I think for that reason, I'm going to lead towards Tom going against that Arizona defense, just with how much he throws. But I do think Tua and Aaron Rodgers are very, very similar plays, and all 3 of them have pretty much the same upside and same floor. So it really just comes down to ownership. I'm just going to say I'm going to lean towards Tom, just with how much he throws it to his team. And then moving on to the running back situation, Aaron Jones looks very solid against Miami. He has been losing some, goal line attempts and some, upside to a guy like, AJ Dillon. He's really stepped on the past 2 weeks, but we know he's going to get close to 15 rushing attempts. He's going to see multiple targets out of the backfield as well. So he has a safe floor, very, very high ceiling, because he can get involved a good amount in that passing game. So I like him there as a spend up at 7,500. James Conner, I do think he'll be more of that contrarian play there at 7,000. They're using Trace McSorley, whatever his name is. James Conner did decent in that second game, or that second half, with Trace McSorley back, but he's looked better recently. As you can see, the past 4 or 5 games, seeing 15 plus rushing attempts, he's going to see targets out of the backfield. So I don't mind him. I do think he's the riskiest, though, just with that whole offense with Trace McSorley. I just don't know if I can trust him. Mostert had a huge game against Buffalo. He has that upside, but it's like it really helped out that he got 136 rushing yards, because he's really not going to be involved too much in the passing game. He can have a game where he gets 2 or 3, but it really just comes down to him being able to rush the ball effectively, which, Green Bay, they're decent rush defense. Obviously, Mostert could have a huge game, so I don't mind getting to him. Leonard Fournette, I do prefer him over Mostert, just because he's very, very involved in the passing game, even though he is splitting time with White. But yeah, I do think they both have similar ceilings, similar floors. I just trust Leonard starting the game, but you could definitely get to White, who is a little bit cheaper. They're both going to rush the ball 10 plus times. They're going to see multiple targets out of the backfield, so it really just comes down to ownership between those 2, but I do think they're both in play. You can get super risky and play both of them. Don't know if I can suggest that, but that really separate you guys from the field. Who else we got here? AJ Dillon. I'm sure he'll be popular. He's been very good the past 3 games. I don't know if I can trust it. He's really gotten, just the touchdowns have really, really helped. He will get a couple passes, but I still would just prefer going to Aaron Jones just because I expect a huge ownership difference between A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, because I do think people are going to chase the past 3 games for A.J. Dillon, see the price tag, and be like, if he's getting that production, why not just go to him for $2,000 less compared to Aaron Jones? So if that's the reason and that's the ownership case, I'm going to go to Aaron Jones all day over A.J. Dillon. But we'll have to see. Then Latavius Murray, he's actually been very, very solid for Denver. It's hard to trust that offense, but at 5,600, he's going to see a good amount of rushing attempts. Can get some passes out of the backfield as well. So he's always there as just like a contrarian play. Cam Akers, same thing. I just don't know if I can trust them playing against that Denver defense. So really no interest in that Denver offense for me. I'm just going to stick with the other games. So the favorite running backs I have, I'm going to just say Aaron Jones for now. And then I'll go to, let's just say, also Wilson Jr. may be back. If he's back, it does eat into the upside for Mostert. You could definitely look to him as a contrarian play. I wouldn't feel great about either one if they're both going to play. And then let's just go to White right there. For the wide receiver situation, Tyreek Hill, obviously he's going to see 10-plus targets every game from Tua. It just comes down to if he's going to score, get a touchdown, because that really helps. So I don't mind him as a spend up there. Prefer getting to the other guys like D-Hop, even though we have PrizePicks throwing on the ball. Hard to trust that. He should see 10-plus targets just because he's the best wide receiver option. He's been great this year. So it's risky trusting, Trace McSorley throwing the ball, but 7,500 for a guy who's going to see 10-plus targets. They should be down, should be passing the ball a ton. He looks great. Waddle's always a very solid option. Not really sure why Tua just does not throw him the ball, and they don't get him 10-plus targets every game because he has massive, massive upside. So I always like him as a pivot play to Tyreek Hill. They're at 7,200. And then the guys like Godwin and Evans look great. Godwin has seen a ton of targets recently. He's been, a lot safer and more consistent compared to Evans. So maybe that's why the ownership will probably go that way. I prefer getting to Mike Evans, 9-9 the past 2 games. He just has huge big play ability. Hasn't seen a touchdown since week 4. So I really expect a huge game coming here soon from a guy like Mike Evans. We know he has that upside, just hasn't seen it with Tom Brady this year. But I do like going to him. And if their ownership's going to go to Godwin, really like going to Mike Evans as a nice stack for Tom Brady. Christian Watson, I do like him a good amount. He should have had a touchdown in that Rams game. He missed a screenplay. He didn't know what was happening, but he would have easily gotten in for a touchdown and had 7, 15, almost 16 fantasy points he probably would have ended with. So I do like him a good amount. He's been heavily involved in that offense. He's seen a ton of looks, ton of touchdowns, ton of red zone opportunities and targets. So I think he looks great there at 6,000. Jerry Jeudy, he's been decent the past 2 games without Cortland Sutton with Russell Wilson. So you can definitely look to him. I don't mind it. He should see a good amount of targets. He looks solid. That's really it for the Denver side. No real interest in anyone else unless Sutton is back. If Sutton is back, I do think he looks for a great play. He should see multiple targets. He'd be the wide receiver 1. So at that price, he is a little bit too cheap there. But it really just comes down to if he's going to play or not. Lazard makes for a decent pivot play off of a Watson. I just don't know if I can trust the production. He's just more of a contrarian play. I mean, at the beginning of the season, we saw, he's very, very solid. And then since then, it's kind of been the Christian Watson show. So if he's going to get no ownership and Christian Watson is going to get a ton, I think, you can make that argument to go to Lazard, but we'll have to see about that. Marquise Brown, he's questionable. If he's good to go, he looks okay. Really just prefer getting to Hopkins. Mentioned Sutton. Romeo was solid in that game for the Packers. He is still the wide receiver 3, though. Going to be splitting time with, Randall Cobb. So you can get to him. I don't feel great about it just because he's, splitting time with Randall Cobb, who saw 4 targets as well. So they're there, but I don't think there's a need to get to them. You kind of need them to fall in the end zone because they're not getting enough volume to really pay off. Van Jefferson's there, has a big playability, but don't think there's a need to get to him. Julio Jones, has seen targets the past few games. Missed out on a few big plays as well the past few games. If he's out, I do like into Russell Gage, who should be involved. He had a great game last game. But if Julio Jones is back, Russell Gage is more of just like a dart throw. Same thing with Julio. No real need, but if, let's say Julio's out, I do like Russell Gage a good amount there. People are going to chase that big game last game for obvious reasons. They'll see the 12 targets, 8 catches, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the 25 fantasy points. But, he should be involved. He's a great slot wide receiver. Tom Brady will look to him a good amount. And that's really it. I mean, you can get to these other guys if you want, but there's really no need unless you want to get super contrarian. You can get to these Rams guys and they could break off a big one and pay off and end up in the optimal lineup. But I just think it's super, super risky. Really no need to get to them right now. Let's see here. Let's throw in. We'll throw in. Let's see if we can get to Watson. And then we'll just do Waddle. For the tight end situation, the most expensive is going to be Higbee. Solid game, 5 targets, 4 catches, not a lot of yards, 27, but he did get a touchdown. So you can go to him. Doesn't look great with Baker Mayfield. Dolchich, past 2 games, past 3, he had seen 8 targets in 2 out of 3. Don't mind getting to him. With Russell Wilson back, he should look to get involved. Tanyan's just kind of there. I mean, the tight end situation is pretty bad. Not a lot of interest in any of these guys. I mean, Gesicki's been pretty much unplayable. I think my favorite would be K. Dotton, even though he really hasn't seen the targets the past 2. Cam Brate is back. He's seen some targets. So it's just a pretty gross tight end situation here for this 3-game slate. I'd say Dolchich would probably be the best. But I do like going to K. Dotton or Brate just with Tom Brady. So it looks like Cade is, the top option still for tight end. So let's just go with him for now. And then that leads us with the flex option and the defensive option. So for defense, obviously we know the price does not correlate with the expected fantasy outcome for the defense. So that's why it's easier getting down to the cheaper guys because they could still get a defensive touchdown and, be worth it more than one of the top defenses. So for that reason, I always like playing lower defenses unless there's like a huge advantage for a defense going against offense. But you could say, maybe you can make the argument for the Broncos. Baker is known to turn it over a good amount. They have a really good defense secondary. So there's that option. You can definitely get to them. But I'm sure they'll be pretty popular. And for that reason, I don't mind going to a Dolphins versus Green Bay or the Packers versus Miami. They could definitely get an interception on Tua, return it, or get a few sacks, an interception, maybe a fumble. So, yeah, it really just comes down to kind of the ownership. And, if you want to get a cheaper defense in, allows you to pay up for someone else. So, yeah, it really just comes down to that. And then for the flex play, we'll just go with... We'll just go with Jerry Jeudy for now. Let's just assume Carton Sutton's out as of right now, but obviously we have to stay updated with the news. We'll throw Jerry Jeudy in there, and then we get the Tom Brady stack with Evans and Cade Otton. We get the bring back with, there is no bring back. You don't have to do a bring back. You can, we could get, pivot off of a Waddle, go to, a D-Hop right there. So then we get the Tom Brady stack with, Evans, Cade Otton. Then we get the bring back with Hopkins. And then we get Aaron Jones and Christian Watson going against Miami. So we get, two good pieces from that offense for Green Bay. Should get figured to get most of the workload. We also get White with Tampa Bay. So we get that Tampa Bay onslaught against Arizona. 3 guys who are going to see the targets, White, Evans, and Otton. And then we get Jerry Jeudy, who should be the number 1 option if Courtland Sutton's out. If Courtland Sutton's in, we could definitely throw Jeudy in there, Sutton in there. Then we get 1,000, which you pay up for, a different defense. But obviously this is a mock lineup. You don't have to use it. But yeah, that is the video. So you guys like the video, hit that like button, subscribe, watch the NBA slate breakdown, which should be out alongside this video. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.